What's up, everybody, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly, the #1 video game podcast in the entire world. I am your host, Christopher Gold. Joining me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Justin Tomasello.
Hey, I'm not Justin.
Justin, you're such a kidder. I mean, I know you like putting on those silly voices and acting a little girly sometimes, but we all know it's you.
You caught me, Chris. Sometimes I like to do a really good voice impression of Alaina.
Well, I gotta say that is really spot on. I mean, you look like Alaina, you sound like Alaina, but I know that my co-host on this show is always Justin, but could it be Alaina this week?
Well, there might be a possibility it's Alaina. How would we find out?
Well, let's ask you. Are you Alaina?
Well, yes, I am.
There you go.
Conspiracy debunked.
Yes, the conspiracy theory has been debunked. Yes, Justin is not joining us this week. I asked him to record, but he just flat out refused to. So
yeah, he gets cranky around the holidays.
Yeah, I said, hey man, we've got to record the show. And he was like, no, I hate the show. I'm not recording the show this week. So we brought Alaina on to fill in his spot for this week. And, I mean, I'm sure Justin will want to refute these allegations at some point, but he's not here to refute those allegations. So we're free to throw these around freely and carelessly, the American way.
Only in America.
So, we are now on episode 40 of this show. Hard to believe we come so far. Alaina, we went and saw Coco last night. How was that?
It was so good. I highly recommend anybody who hasn't seen it yet to go check it out. But arrived late. I would say the Frozen short was not my favorite. What about you, Chris?
No, the Frozen short was pretty garbage, gotta say. In the context that it was playing, like it's supposed to be the cartoon short before they actually play the movie. You know, like Pixar and a lot of animated movies have done that for, generations now. But this freaking cartoon is 20 minutes long before you even get in to see Coco. And it's like, you want to go in and you want to see this fun, well-regarded movie that's bright and colorful and cheerful, and instead you get 20 minutes of white on white, like just bland nothingness before you even get a chance to see the movie. And I think, maybe 17 to 18 of those 20 minutes is taken up by song and dance.
Oh, yeah. Like every 2 words they broke out into song because I guess they wanted like 4 or 5 songs in the special. The special's only 21 minutes long. So there was like hardly any dialogue. There was just a lot of singing and a lot of Olaf running around everywhere. And I mean, I like Olaf, but I don't know about all that. I think it's a little bit too much before my Pixar movie, if you ask me.
Yeah, so we loved Coco. Coco itself was absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to echo what Alaina said. If you're going to go see the movie, you don't think like, oh, the show starts at like 8 o'clock or 7:30, we have to be there right then. You can give yourself about a half hour or so leeway, with the trailers and the Frozen special. Yeah, you've got plenty of leeway. And part of the reason, I guess, that they wanted to show off this Frozen special is because it was Christmas themed. And Alaina, since it is now December, we decided we were going to have a little bit of a Christmas themed episode ourselves.
Yes, we did.
Yes. So what Alaina and I did is we each compiled a top 5 list of gaming items that we would really like to receive for this holiday season. So, yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit. But before we do that, Alaina, what are you playing?
What are you playing?
So, I'm guessing that this isn't going to be a surprise to anyone, but I went from my Stardew Valley obsession, which was taking up a lot of my hours and a lot of my time, immediately to an all-consuming obsession with Animal Crossing on mobile, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. So that's been taking up a lot of my time.
That's completely understandable.
Yeah, I mean, as it's been stated on the show before, it's not a full Animal Crossing title, so you're missing some of the experience. But I actually really happen to like this game, and it was a pleasant surprise for me because I thought it was going to be, I don't know, I just thought it was going to be even lighter of an experience than it was, and it turns out that it really is a really full, enjoyable mobile game. So if you haven't checked it out yet, it's free. I really highly recommend downloading it. And I do think that a lot of the things like microtransactions that sometimes get in the way of mobile experiences, I haven't experienced here yet. I think that the game has been really great so far, and I haven't felt the need to spend any money on it. I've just been enjoying going day to day, meeting the animals, crafting furniture. So I know we talked about it ad nauseum last podcast. Really, you and Justin did, Chris. So I won't go too deep into it, but I really enjoyed diving into that these last couple of weeks. And
They have a holiday event going on right now,
oh
don't they?
yes, we should talk about that. There's a holiday event going on where you can craft all types of Christmas furniture. All you need to do is fill requests with the animals, and they give you special items that are candy canes. And the candy
very
canes,
festive.
yeah, they're very festive. So the candy canes help you craft all different types of furniture. There's like sort of Gingham style Christmas couches, rugs. There's a Christmas tree, a fireplace, and your character can get a special Christmas outfit, right, Chris?
Yes, they can. You complete enough requests for people, you get candy canes, and you craft certain pieces of furniture, then you will get rewarded with certain pieces of Santa clothes. So you can get a Santa hat, the coat, his fingers, his
Not his
left leg.
fingers.
Yeah, you get little bits of Santa mailed to you every
That's
once
so
in a while.
terrifying. Just like, oh, Isabelle's just like, all right, you complete a request, check out your mailbox. And inside your mailbox is like one of Santa's limbs.
Yeah, Santa was having difficulty paying off his loans. You don't have the same
No.
issue paying off your loans, do you?
Oh, God. Oh, that would just, oh my God. That would be so terrifying.
That would be such a dark turn for Isabelle and like her character, because she is the yin to Tom Nook's yang, you know, like they are like they're two opposite sides of the coin. Like Isabelle is so sweet and caring, like, oh, you know, I'll support you every step of the way, or Tom Nook is like, I'll take care of you if the price is right.
But here's the thing about Isabelle. Like, the second you come to town, she just assumes that you're the mayor. And even in Pocket Camp, she just assumes you're the person in charge of this camp. And each time you get a dialogue option that says, wait, what? No, not me. And she completely disregards it and hands you all this responsibility. So I don't know. I kind of think she has ulterior motives.
It maybe she just doesn't want to work. Maybe she was the mayor, or she was the camp counselor, and she's like, oh, this is so much work. I hate doing this. And then you stroll into town, and she's like, oh, you're the new mayor. That's how democracy works.
That's a very high possibility.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's, I mean, what are, so you haven't had any issues with the game itself so far? Any experiences with the camp, with the fellow campgoers so far?
No, I haven't had any problems with connectivity. I've, been having a really great time crafting all the pieces of furniture. All that stuff's been working great. Every once in a while there is a glitch where, and I think it's just because I'm playing the app so often, but I'll click on a character and it kind of seems like their Maya model gets sort of stiff, but it happens very rarely. It just seems like it's a game glitch, and, you know, I don't really mind it because it's not like I lose any items or anything consequential happens to me. It's just sort of like the character animation is having a little bit of trouble working itself out. But other than that, very rare problem. Everything's been working super great. I really haven't had the connectivity problem at all. And, you know, it just seems like Nintendo did a really solid job creating this title.
Now, how satisfied are you with this experience versus having a full-blown sequel or like a full-blown Animal Crossing game on like the Switch or 3DS or something like that?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and a lot of the elements from this Pocket Camp game are the same as the game in real life. Because if you think about it, if you open up your copy of New Leaf or Wild World, you could only do things within a day unless you're cheating. So if you're going by the game clock, you know, if you shake down a tree, your fruit isn't going to come back for a few hours, just like the Pocket Camp game. If you're going to go and buy an item from the store, you know, that's really the only time a day you could shop and get your item. And then it's gone. And then you have to come back to the game the next day. So a lot of those things, I feel like, you know, Pocket Camp, if anything, gives you more flexibility. Like you can get every piece of fruit. Because the options for catching things are limited, you're not like, I don't know. Like sometimes I felt like villager requests, like I could never fill them in my actual game because they request something and I just couldn't catch it. I feel like Pocket Camp's a little bit more efficient because you only have so many of the same creature or animal or piece of fruit in the game to get. So what I mean by this is there's maybe like 5 or 6 types of fish you could catch in one area, and that's it, versus the full game. But then again, the flip side of that is I really miss collecting things for my museum. I really miss that like sort of challenge of completionism. Like you can complete everything. I think that's a big part of Animal Crossing. Collecting all the different types of furniture, you know, was a little bit different in the real game too, because it was more like a hunt. There's things like sloppy furniture, like you have to specifically get from your recycle shop in New Leaf. So there's some elements like that I definitely miss. And, you know, absolutely the open world element of it too. But I gotta say, like, Pocket Camp is just a different type of Animal Crossing. It's not worse for me, anything. It's just, you know, a unique experience onto itself. And it's a fun experience. And I like the way they adapted it because honestly, it makes sense for the platform. You know, I'm sure some sacrifices have to be made. Like you can't have an open world element in that type of setting because it would be hard for them to keep that connectivity and to have all that memory on your phone. But because they do that, it's a really fast app, like nothing's slow. I haven't experienced any type of freezing or anything, where I've had some games like drain my phone battery or be very slow and not connect because there's so much going on in it. So I think that Nintendo made the right choices. And I'm enjoying it. I think it's different. I like the fact that requests mean more now from the villagers because that's another flip side. Even if I didn't get a request to a villager, it really didn't matter in my main copy of the game. Because, I mean, sometimes they'd give you something or sometimes they wouldn't. But in this game, it's crucial. If you don't fill those requests, you're not going to be able to craft the furniture. You're not going to be able to invite them to your campsite. And there's a feeling like, well, I want all the animals to come. So that definitely becomes a challenge unto itself.
Yeah, those are all excellent points. I mean, again, like the two games are totally different and they're geared towards two different markets. One, I guess, like handheld gamers or like a handheld game like on the 3DS or even something on the Switch, a hybrid system would be geared more towards a hardcore crowd who wants to play that game for longer. Whereas like with a mobile game, you're only playing it in like little bits and spurts.
I don't know. I mean, you can go hardcore in Pocket Camp. Like I'm level 28. And I think Susie from Game Grumps, I checked her Twitter, she was over level 30. So there's people who are, you know, really into it and they're playing it constantly. That being said, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's not a full experience in the traditional sense. There's definitely still things I haven't unlocked in New Leaf, and I think it was just recently, and it's been 4 or 5 years, I completed all the shops in my town in New Leaf. I mean, it took me that long for whatever reason to unlock the fortune shop. Things like that happen in the game, or it takes you forever to collect every single fossil or whatever it may be. So yeah, there's definitely going to be probably less playability, but then again, they're going to have updated events. I'm sure every holiday they're going to have new furniture, new things to do, new animals to see. So we'll see how long it keeps going and how long people play it for. But, I think that for the time being, it's a really great experience. And yeah, I have to say, I do think it's a full experience for a mobile game.
I'm only at level 10 in Pocket Camp. So
well, maybe that's why.
Way to level shame me.
Well, I got to show off about something. You're so good at all the other games.
So, what else have you been playing?
Okay, so the other game that I've been playing outside of my indie arcade, which we will talk about later, is Pokemon. Surprise!
Oh, which version?
Pokemon Moon.
Now, is this regular Pokemon Moon or Pokemon Ultra Moon?
This is regular Pokemon Moon, and
okay.
I have a reason for that. Everybody came out with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it actually kind of takes me a while to get in the mood to play a game like Pokemon. I own both Pokemon and Yokai Watch, and I still haven't beaten Yokai Watch 1 or Pokemon Moon because, I get really in the mood and I play them for a long time, and then all of a sudden, I just don't feel like playing it anymore. Something about, the constant battles and stuff, will occasionally turn me off. But I actually was really far into Pokemon Moon, and for whatever reason, I stopped. So when everyone came back out with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I was in the mood to play it again. And I said, you know what, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to beat it for real now. I'm actually going to get the energy again to finish this copy. And then I'll see. Because my whole thing was, I was curious. I was like, maybe I'll buy Ultra Sun. And I was like, no. I got to finish what I started here with Moon. And then I'll see if I'm still in the mood to buy the next Pokemon game. Because sometimes I feel like, and I don't want anyone that's a Pokemon fan out there to shoot me, like an Ultra fan, but you have to admit, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in particular, there's not that many differences from the original copies of the game, and some of those differences, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I quite like, but also I kind of do because they appeal to the fan in me. It's like, this is the best way I could explain it. There's some different generation Pokemon in the Ultra games, and I kind of felt like, well, wasn't that the point of Sun and Moon to have the Alola Pokemon? Why are we all of a sudden putting the other Pokemon in it? It's not special anymore. Right. And maybe someone would disagree with me on that. I mean, I'm sure many people do, because, that's that's appealing to the fan base. Of course we want that. I mean, when you think about all the changes, people probably asked for more customization, more clothes, so that's why they put that in there. And now they're going to put in the more Pokemon, and now they're going to put in more enemies besides Team Skull. And now they're going to cut some of the things out that were annoying for players. And it's like, some people are saying because of that, it's a better overall experience. But I just feel like, I don't know, I really like the original, and I like the ideas from the original. So, I'm kind of up in the air about it. I don't want to critique it too hard, but it's definitely some things I've been thinking about. I'm like, am I just in the mood with the trend, seeing everybody play it and being like, yeah, I want it too, just because it's that Pokemon mood in the air? Or, is it just genuinely the Ultra games are going to be good and it's a good addition to the series?
It is the official position of Press A repeatedly, and I know Justin aired this about a month ago, I would say. I forget when exactly it was, but we were discussing the Pokemon Ultra games, Sun and Moon, and he stated, and I agreed, that there's really no reason to pick up those games and to give them more money if you have the original Pokemon Sun and Moon games, because they're effectively the same games. They're not different. Like the original games came out just a year ago. It's not like these are brand new versions that are coming out and this like new features and like better graphics or anything. It's the same game. It's just repackaged with a couple little extra whatever features in that don't really justify reissuing and repurchasing these games with the words Ultra slapped in front of it.
I agree. It just feels like to me like this really, I mean, I go back to it again and again, but I feel like all these elements could have been really great DLC. But, instead of just making it a really good downloadable content package, they're going to repackage it and make it a brand new game and reuse all of its elements. I mean, people say it's even like when you start up the game, it's the exact same cutscenes, it's the exact same sequence. There's a few different sequences inserted in there, but it doesn't deviate that far from the original. And again, I can't help but feel like I like what the original did because it was so different from everything we had seen so far. Why insert like 6th gen Pokemon in there when the whole point was that it was this like region where there was these older Pokemon and these Pokemon who were like different versions. Like the Alola forms were so interesting to me. But that's just my personal opinion. Don't come to my home and shoot me because you're a Pokemon fan and you're like, no, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon forever.
It is
because I know there's some diehard fans out there.
It is also the position of Press A repeatedly. Justin's not here, but I'm sure he would agree. Don't go to people's homes and shoot them. Just don't. For any reason, if a Pokemon fan or not, don't do that. It's that is not cool. We strongly condemn that in the strongest possible terms on our show. So yeah, don't go doing that. Especially not for Pokemon.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No,
I was just saying that, and I do respect the opinion of everyone who does pick up the copy of Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. I mean, that's your prerogative. If you love Pokemon that much, you should go for it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it is your money, and you're free to spend it however you want. It's just, man, I personally find it really hard to justify purchasing either the Ultra games. It's if you haven't gotten the original games yet. Like, if you were holding out on Sun or Moon and you didn't pick those up, then yeah, by all means, go for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Pick up those versions because they're the newest versions. You get like a slightly upgraded experience, I suppose. But if you already have those first games, again, it's your money. If you want to buy those games, then you're free to do so. But man, that's a hard to justify purchase for me personally.
It's a very controversial topic, I think. Because, when they came out with those trailers, too, I was, like, so shocked. I was like, why? Why are they doing this? Like, I don't know, Nintendo. But Nintendo's done some things. I mean, they even, like, do things. Like, they'll advertise games that have come out, like, a year ago. I was shocked. I think they advertised Yokai Watch 2 very recently in one of their YouTube videos. And I was like, Yokai Watch 2 came out a year ago. Like, I got it for last Christmas. Like, it's been out forever. Why are they acting like it's brand new? But they'll do that sometimes. And I don't know, Game Freak in this case, at least this really is a new game. But, the decision to just repackage this. I don't know, Game Freak. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about you.
But anyway, in the current version of Pokemon Moon, if you have played the game, I'm currently in Po Town fighting Team Skull. So that's where I am progress-wise. It's going pretty well. I have a really strong team. I have a Mimikyu, who's my lowest level Pokemon right now. That's kicking ass. I don't even really need to use anything else. And when I throw out my Beware, I mean, like, that's my second weakest Pokemon, and he's, like, level 40-something. And so far, he's been pretty powerful too because he has like really great defense.
How many Pokemon do you have in your Pokedex?
My Pokedex, actually, I don't think I've caught that many overall. I think I had a low number when I checked. It was like 25% overall.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I think my thing is like after a while, you know, in the beginning you catch like every Pokemon you see. But when you go through the game like long enough, like sometimes I'll get sick of a certain Pokemon, like battling them, or I'm just not that into the Pokemon's abilities. So I'm like, well, why force myself to catch it? Like, I don't really feel like it. Like, yes. I'm not a completionist when it comes to the Pokedex. So for me, it's like if it's a really good Pokemon and I want to fight with it, that's when I catch them.
Oh, yeah, especially like nowadays. I mean, they have so many Pokemon. Like, I'm not as huge a Pokemon fan, and my recollection is a little fuzzy, so this may be off a little bit, but I think right now they're up to something like 5,897 different types of Pokemon out there. And
really?
that's yeah.
Wow.
close to 6,000 types of Pokemon. Yeah, including all the like evolved forms and everything like that. It's impressive. So, yeah, 25% is a pretty solid percentage, I would say.
Are you sure it's 5,000? I feel like it would be more like 500, wouldn't it?
No, it's got to be close to like 7,000 or 8,000 Pokemon out there.
Oh, wait, I'm looking it up. There are 802 Pokemon in total, without including Mega Evolutions and Alola forms, which are variations of existing Pokemon. As of 10/19/2016, there's a total of... Well, how does that make sense? How is there a total of 720? Oh, because I guess that's not in total. I guess 802 includes all the different Alola forms and everything. Ah, right. So you're definitely off. It's not it's not 5,000.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm still right, despite you looking it up right now and discovering the facts. I'm still going to believe my own headcanon.
Could you imagine a Pokemon rap with 5,000 Pokemon?
the poor guy who would get like to 3,000 and he'd be like, "Oh, sir, Jiminy."
Oh man, you gotta catch them all.
Just people like breaking down, crying in the streets. I have 5,896 Pokemon. Where is the last one? I have looked everywhere.
Oh man, that would be the worst.
Oh God, that would drive me insane.
Yes, I think that would drive any person insane. So that's it for me. What are you playing, Chris?
Well, let me see. Firstly, before I get into what I've been playing real quick, I do want to give a couple quick shout-outs to Justin and Butch. Justin, for giving me this really awesome collection of Super Mario comics from 1992 called Super Mario Adventures. The story is by Kentaro Takakuma, and the art is by Charlie Nozawa. And these comics ran during Nintendo Power from like January 1992 through December 1992.
Ooh.
And the art style in them is so good and it's so funny. The writing is fantastic. Like it's an original Mario adventure story, and it uses elements from the earlier games. So it's not based on any one particular game, but it uses a lot of elements. And I gotta say, like, I think you would really love this one too. Princess Peach in these comics is a total badass.
Ooh.
Like she kicks so much ass. Like, I mean, she eventually gets kidnapped, but she is smart, she's clever, she fights her own way out of different situations. She doesn't just wait for Mario to come save the day. Like, yeah, she is awesome in these comics.
I wish that they would do that in the games again. I mean, the one time you sort of saw her like that, and it was kind of barely. She had her, well, there's two instances. She had her own title, which was crap. I bought that game.
Super Princess Peach?
Super Princess Peach, yeah, for the DS, where she had the umbrella. I mean, it was cute, but it just wasn't very good.
one of her abilities was literally to cry.
Yeah, it was her using her emotions. Oh, because she's a girl. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, her emotions were her power. Like, that makes me want to punch something. And then the other instance was sort of when she was in Paper Mario. You got to play as her a little bit. She wasn't like... She tried to break out. Like, she tried to communicate with Mario. She wasn't just complacently kidnapped. But... I mean, there's not too many games where she, you know, besides maybe the RPG games, does anything for herself anymore. And that's a shame. I mean, especially hearing now that she had these kick-ass comics.
Oh, yeah, they were the best. Like, honestly, you're gonna, like, laugh when you read this just because of, like, how just awesome Princess Peach is. Like, she's practically, like, a one-man army. I mean, you know, she's one princess army all by herself. Like, she is fantastic. I highly recommend. The art is hilarious, the writing is hilarious, everything about these comics is fantastic. You can actually pick up the Super Mario Adventures. Like, right now they're on Amazon. I think their normal list price is $15. If you have Prime, then they're like $8.64.
Sounds like a good Christmas gift to me.
Yes, they are. They are well worth it. Second shout out to Butch, who just before we started recording this episode, he gifted me, and I don't know who else he gave this. Okay. Here's the list. He gave it on Steam. Chris, I got you and Justin this game because it looks like an amazing platformer and it was on sale, LOL. Best wishes, Boucher. And this game that he gave us is The End Is Nigh.
Oh.
Yes, so I literally just activated it and added it to my library just now. So I just wanted to take a little time and say thank you, Butch.
All right. Now, you're not going to escape my question this time. What are you playing, Chris?
All right. So, what I have been playing. I haven't played too much new this week. Like you, I played a little bit of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I crafted a few of the holiday furniture events. I am still in the process of trying to invite campers to my campsite, so nothing too new to add to what you mentioned earlier. Played a little bit more Stardew Valley this week.
Anything new in Stardew Valley?
Again, nothing too new. I did get into my first fight with Penny, though.
You got into a fight?
Yes.
What'd you do?
Well, I have peach trees and orange trees on my farm. So I decided, you know what? It's summer. I have fruit grown from these trees. And I mean, we grew up in a farming town. And you know, during the summer, like, our town grows, among other things, blueberries. It's famous for its blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that is notable about our town is you can go to most any places during blueberry season, and people are literally just giving away cases and pints of blueberries to people, friends, neighbors, etc. Right? They're always giving them out.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing with my town and my neighbors, because I had primarily to this point been focusing a lot of my attention on Penny and Leah. And of course, I'm now currently married to Penny.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided, you know what? I want to try to develop my other friendships with the rest of my townsfolk as well. So I grabbed all my peaches and I grabbed all the oranges, and I just went through town and I gave them to the first people I saw. And everybody loves the peaches and the oranges. No one was like, oh, this is terrible. So I was giving them to everyone, and everyone was like, oh, this is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I came back home, and I should have known that there was going to be an issue because it was raining. And Penny was just standing by the TV. Now, ordinarily when I come home, it's later and she's in bed. But she was up, and she was waiting for me.
Oh, my.
And I talked to her, and she says, so, I heard you secretly gave a gift to Emily today. I was like, I did. And she was like, do I have to start being suspicious of you? And I was like,
man.
I was like, baby, sweetheart, you don't understand. It wasn't like that. I gave oranges and peaches to everybody. I was trying to be a good neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Likely story.
Who starts an affair over peaches and oranges?
Well, I've told you this before, but I'll say it again. Your greed to make everybody in that town love you is going to be your demise.
I just want people to like me. It's all I've ever wanted in my life.
Oh, well, in all seriousness, at least you think about your neighbors. I think in my copy of the game, I have 10 hearts with Harvey, and we do have a baby. And that's pretty much it. I don't talk to anybody else. I'm like a straight up loner. I'm like a hermit, just like keeping to myself, making my crops, going to Pierre, getting seeds occasionally. But because of that, my farm is like really pimped out. It has like all the equipment, all the animals. Like it's the place to go. But unfortunately, I have no friends.
And is it worth it in the end, Alaina? It
is so worth it. I have so much gold.
Just totally selling out. Like, it's like, was it worth it to be alone? Hell yeah. I've got all this money. It's great.
No one bothering me. It's great.
No, but see, that's the thing, though. If you befriend the villagers, they will send you things in the mail to, like, make things easier for you. Like, Marnie, I maintain my friendship with Marnie, and I'll literally just get things in the mail from her like, hey, you know, since you're such a great friend, I wanted to help you out. And she'll give me like 30 pieces of hay in the mail, which I don't know how that works in real life. Like, does she just shove the hay in the mailbox?
She has like a helicopter. You know how in like Alaska, they have to like drop off
and
their
they
packages
airdrop it
with the
in.
little parachutes.
Man, what a friend.
Yeah, that's a lot of effort.
I hope she pays for that shipping. I'm not paying for the shipping for that. To have have a helicopter airdrop in hay? No, get the hell out of there. Send it back.
That's a steep price to pay for friendship.
I suppose. The other game that I played this week, it is a game that I picked up as part of a Black Friday deal from last week. That, Alaina, is Assassin's Creed Origins.
Ooh.
Yes, be amazed. Stare in awe at my ability to purchase video games.
I'm very impressed.
Yes, thank you. I picked up Assassin's Creed Origins because I had been a fan of the Assassin's Creed games, God, for a long time. But then, like, Assassin's Creed 3 had come out, and that just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. And the whole sci-fi aspect to those games, where you are a modern-day person, and you're just kind of thrown into the past, and you have to do modern-day sequences, it always felt so tacked on and dumb, and it never made any sense. Yeah. And I was just like, this like that whole part of it didn't do anything for me. I just wanted to be an assassin in history at some point, running around, killing bad guys, doing it in awesome ways, being stealthy and cool. Like, that's the part that I really liked.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, it doesn't really need that tacked on story. Like, that's a story within itself. You look at platformers like Mario, he doesn't need anything except you're a plumber, you're saving a princess, and here you are in a level. You don't really need this gigantic backstory behind it all the time. But continue.
Right. Yeah, so I picked up Assassin's Creed Origins because a lot of people were saying it was amazing. It was the best Assassin's Creed in years, possibly ever. A lot of people are even considering it a strong Game of the Year contender, potentially.
Wow.
So my curiosity was piqued, and it was 50% off. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll scoop this up. $30. That's not bad. So I scooped this bad boy up, and I gotta say, like, so far I'm enjoying it so far. Like, it's not like, I mean, I'm not blown away by it though. Like, I'm not like, oh man, this is just absolutely incredible. But I am definitely enjoying it. It maintains some of the whole sci-fi elements to it, where they have what's called the animus, quote unquote, where the modern day person gets into the machine called the animus, and that transfers their subconscious to their ancestor. And that's how you link the modern day world to the ancient world. They don't really have that too much, but they still have different elements of the animus as if you are in that animus. Like, if you do something you're not supposed to, it'll tell you you're desynchronizing. When a level is loading up, it'll mention, oh, synchronization in progress. There will be little glitches here and there. And those are all explained by being as part of this, being part of being in the animus device itself. So it doesn't do away with the sci-fi elements completely, but it scales them back significantly, which is very, very welcome, because it always weighed down the experience, and it just gets you right into it. Like, hey, time to kill some bad guys. And it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that sounds way better.
So with the story of Origins, the whole idea behind it is it's supposed to be the beginning of the Assassin's Creed order itself, and it takes place in ancient Egypt.
Ooh.
Yes, and that's really exciting because ancient Egypt, that's an area that video games don't ordinarily explore all that often. And the team at Ubisoft, they spent a lot of time and effort in researching ancient Egyptian society and daily life and trying to recreate that for this game. And your character is Bayek, and you are a Magi, so you're like a special soldier for the pharaoh. I think, like, you help maintain law and order throughout ancient Egyptian society. I mean, I'm not 100% certain what exactly it is a Magi does, but you're essentially a super soldier. Like, you can climb anywhere, do anything, and the game starts out a little confusingly. Like, there's a series of little flashbacks, and then all of a sudden you are thrown into the middle of this one-on-one fight with a bodyguard of some sort. This guy who's wearing this it looks like an Anubis headset, like a dog's face to it. And the game is teaching you, as you're fighting this guy, how to do like short attacks, heavier attacks that break his shield, how to dodge, that sort of stuff.
So here's a good question. What's your main form of weapon, since you're so far in the past in ancient Egypt?
Well, it's just like swords and scythes and daggers, things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're just like slashing away at each other. It's good old classic sword fighting action.
Ah, I see.
So it takes you back to the past, and you're like in the middle of this fight, and now your buddy shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you can like stay at my place for a while. This new guy is kind of installed in the region, and he's throwing his weight around. He's abusing his power to get his own way. He's very corrupt." And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to kill this guy. That's the obvious course of action. And the guy tells you, oh, you can do that, but also the police force in the area, the soldiers have been kind of running amok, doing their own thing. And here's a list of things that the Magi need to get done themselves so order can be restored to the land. And so, like, then the game just kind of opens up there, and I'm free to do whatever I want, which is cool because now I can like pursue side quests, the main story mission. I'm free to go anywhere I want because I'm a prototypical assassin. I can also climb anywhere that I want to, which is really cool. I also have a hawk who what's his name? It's like Savi, something like that. And by pressing a button, I can go into hawk mode, and my hawk will fly around, and he'll find different areas or items of interest that I need to complete my missions. Like, say there's a certain type of flower that one of the citizens requires for something, and so I'll say, all right, I'll send my hawk to look around, and it will find the icon signifying this flower, and it will target that, and then I'll like hit a button to leave a marker for it, and then I return back to Bayek mode, and that marker will be there, and I'll say, okay, it'll like be there on my map, and I'll say, okay, that's where I need to go next, because otherwise
cool.
Yeah, because otherwise, without Hawk mode, you would just kind of be stumbling, running around wherever, and you would have no idea where to go.
Right, that's really helpful.
Yeah, so it's a huge lifesaver. And right now, my first side quest that I was doing, I ran just north of my town that I was in, and there was this tiny little cave. And a couple of boys had wandered in there. I guess they wanted to like find something, or they wanted to prove their own worth as men, even though they were only like 10, 11 years old or so. And I hop in. The younger brother is there. He's like, "Oh, my brother went in there," and like it turns out that hyenas have like overrun the place, and so I got out as fast as I could, but my brother's still in there, and oh, woe is me. And so it's like, look, it's fine, kid. I'll go in there. I'll fight the friggin' hyenas and save your stupid brother. And he's like, thanks. Don't tell my mom and dad. And he runs off. I'm like, oh God, kids. So I go in. There are no hyenas to speak of whatsoever inside this den, and I'm like, okay. I go around, I'm collecting a lot of the different valuables and trinkets that are lying all around. I find a couple of upgraded weapons for myself, which is really cool, so I outfit myself. And then I find the kid who just is hanging around, and I'm like, alright, cool, whatever. And I'm going through the den, and I'm like, man, there are just no hyenas. This is really peculiar. And I walk outside of the den, and I'm immediately attacked by like 3 hyenas. I'm like, oh Christ! And let me tell you, these things are fierce. Like, I'm like trying to slash at these things, and I'm like dodging, and they are ripping me to shreds. And I'm like, and I'm screaming like, I'm screaming like, ah! Oh God, get away, bad, heal. And the kid is like, he's screaming, he's like, help me. I'm like, kid. And meanwhile, I'm getting like my flesh ripped off my bones right before my eyes, and the kid's like, help me. I'm like, help you, help me.
Oh my God.
So yeah, these hyenas rip me to shreds. And what's sad too is the moment where I leave the den is a save point. Like the game auto saves. So when I come back into my save file, I am immediately on the outside of this den again.
Oh no.
and so it's like the game is giving me chance after chance after chance to take out these hyenas. And I keep failing over and over and over again. And I'm being made to relive my horrifying, brutally painful, and violent death to these hyenas over and over again. And I'm like, oh God, what have I done? I gotta defeat these hyenas and break this cycle because this is hell.
You're lucky you're not playing it on Xbox One, because I bet you Cortana would have recorded that moment and played it back for you.
Do you want to save this moment? No, Cortana, I do not want to save this moment right now. Leave me alone.
Oh, it's just so ridiculous because you're this highly trained assassin, and the thing that's going to get you is these 3 hyenas.
It's unbelievable. Like
attacking you Lion King style.
And I'm trying so hard to like dodge out of their attacks and like hit them and try to kill them as quick as possible, but they're just so hyenas are a very strong, powerful animal. Like they're not like the Lion King kind of made jokes out of them, like, oh, you know, they're silly and goofy. Like, no, they are vicious things. You do not ever want to mess with a hyena. They have the most powerful bite in the animal kingdom. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I thought that was hippos.
No, that's hyenas. They have the strongest jaws, I think, per square inch. Like they can bite through anything, including assassin flesh. And I can guarantee that firsthand experience.
Well, it was a nice run, Chris. You know.
I'm not giving up yet. I will be an assassin, and I will start the Assassin's Creed order. I just have to get past these frickin' hyenas first.
Well, you'll find a way. You always do. I mean, hopefully. If not, you might have to just go back into the den and wait them out.
Yeah, just duck immediately back inside. And I'm like, but Bayek, shouldn't we go out there? No, kid. I've seen how this goes. It goes very poorly for you and me, especially me. We're staying right here. But so that's it for me, which means it's time for the Indie Arcade.
Indie Arcade.
Last week, I had given Justin the game Rabby Ribby to play, but conveniently, he's not on this week. Isn't that something, Alaina? Haven't you noticed also that whenever I give Justin an awful game to play for Indie Arcade, he just so happens to not be here the next week to play that game?
Yeah, that does seem awful suspicious. But, you know, Justin isn't here to defend himself, so I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know. We're free to throw around conspiracy theories all day, and he can't do a thing to stop us.
I could just see him tweeting out angrily. I hope he's okay. We love you, Justin.
I mean, the flip side of that is he is going to be editing this down, so he could absolutely edit out these parts, and we would be none the wiser. No one would be the wiser.
No, they wouldn't. And he would just edit it in such a way to make us look like fools.
He would. So the point is, though, that Justin is not here to talk about Rabby Ribby. So that is not the game that we're going to be discussing this week. Alaina, earlier this week, I gave you the replacement game to play in Justin's stead, Valhalla.
Yes, you did.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Valhalla?
Well, first off, I don't want to show off. I feel bad that Justin got Rabby Ribby as his game. However, Valhalla is a really great game that you happen to assign to me, Chris. So I am very blessed because I got very lucky this week. You could have given me anything and you just happened to give me a really great game.
Yep. Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. So that being said, Valhalla is a game you could purchase on Steam. It's a cyberpunk bartender action text adventure style game. And it's set in a dystopian future. And if you've ever seen games like Phoenix Wright, it kind of has that look to it where it's like first person, very colorful cast of characters and artwork. And in this case, it's like a really pretty like pixel-based artwork. It's not 6-bit or anything like that. It almost looks like 32-bit. It's like really like advanced pixel artwork. It's very detailed pixel artwork. And it has like a really funky, cool techno soundtrack that you listen to as you play the game. So that being said, I'll talk to you a little bit about my experience with it and the story. So you're playing as this main character, and her name is Jill. And Jill is the bartender in the game. And the bar is named Valhalla, or it's actually spelled VA11, HALLA. It kind of like breaks it up into acronyms, but they call it Valhalla. And you're in this like really sort of bleak society. Like the game opens up and it tells you that there's a lot of crime. You're in this place called Glitch City. And there's like crime. People are constantly getting raped. Like there's just like a sort of general like sadness. Like people are unhappy here. And so a lot of people drink to dispel a lot of their worries. And you know, you're sort of, as the bartender, set outside the action of all this like really interesting political intrigue, and sort of sci-fi like elements. And I find that really fascinating because, you know, it's very similar to things like Ghost in the Shell. But instead of being the person who's inside the government, you're just this outsider. And you have all these very important, sort of interesting people coming into the bar and telling you their stories. So the game, you know, if you're like, well, what is this game actually like? You're in the bar and you're actually making drinks. That's the majority of the gameplay. But the gameplay is really sort of like a minimal detail. Really what's enjoyable about it is the story. It is very close to a text adventure style game. These people come in and they ask you for a drink, and it's very casual because, you know, you have these like drink menus and everything, and you're mostly just mixing according to it. So really, like, a lot of the pressure's off in my opinion, and it's mostly focused on learning about these characters. But it doesn't spoon feed it to you. It's not like hitting you over the head with a storyline. It's actually very, very well written. And Chris, I gotta say, this is the most well written game I've seen in a very long time. Like, the dialogue is absolutely just impeccable.
Really?
Yeah, like, I was really floored. I haven't read something quite this great in a long time. It was just very, like, the only thing I could say is intelligent. Like, just absolutely intelligent. And there's a lot of moments where, like, you're talking to a character, and the next day or later on you meet another character and you're getting another piece of that story. Like, they happen to relate or they happen to intertwine. But again, it never feels like it's like bombarding you over the head like, I'm the character that they're talking about. It's just very much like you're discovering it, like it's a revelation. So that's exciting. But I should say this much. Everything's pre-written. There is no like choosing your text options or anything like that. It's just you are Jill and you're playing through this story as if you're alongside her. And what other details do we have about it? So Jill, she's like this very apathetic, like she has this like dry wit, but she's very inquisitive, and that's sort of what makes her easy to vent to. And she sort of, because of that, like a lot of people end up coming in and just like sort of oversharing with her, like as you do as a bartender. But what's interesting, and I find interesting, is Jill isn't a classic blank character. You know how you have those like, oh, you could be any one character, like you're supposed to be able to insert yourself into the story easily that way. Jill actually really has her own personality. At the end of a night, you come back to her apartment and you have this really cute like pixel based apartment you return to, and you see her cat Pharaoh who's there. And when you're back at your apartment, this is the sort of second half of the gameplay that's quite interesting and I think is important, is she has a smartphone and you read all the articles, all the news, everything that's happening in the world on her smartphone apps. And there's only like 5 or 6 of them, but it sort of reminds me of .hack. .hack used to have a system where you'd go around and read like articles. It's very similar to that. Like you're sitting there and you're reading forum posts, and then the next moment you're reading like the news, and then the next moment you're reading like a blogger. And they're all sort of revealing something different about the story. And so like in the background of all these politics, the fact that there's this like whole faction called the White Knights that's supposed to protect people, but because it's the government, there's like there might be corruption there. There's also like a hacker that's been hacking into the government, and you're learning about that mostly online, even if like people aren't talking about it in the bar. So I find that all very fascinating, and it's also optional. Like you wouldn't have to go and read all that stuff, but it really adds to the story. And then the only other things you really do, you could go shopping and you could buy things to help Jill focus. And then in the game itself, for whatever reason, they require you to pick music. This is really fascinating too. At the beginning of your shift and at the break time in your shift, you have to pick 10 songs to listen to. And there's like about 50 in the whole soundtrack, I would say, probably give or take. And yeah, before you could start your shift or do anything, you have to pick 10 songs to listen to. And it's this like really, I mean, the other thing about this game is the music. It's this excellent techno, like instrumental score for all the songs. And they're all very like moody and different. And it really just puts on this vibe when you're like talking to everybody. So I find that, like, even though it's kind of an unconventional way to have music going on, it's fascinating because you could really explore the soundtrack and you can kind of make it your own. Like, if you like a certain song, you can hear it every time you're playing the game. So I find that kind of cool. Oh, what else? I feel like I'm talking so much.
No, by all means, this is great.
There's a lot to this game. It's really great. So I guess I should talk a little bit about some of the people who come into the bar, since I've sort of alluded to the fact that they're very different. Again, it very much reminds me of Phoenix Wright. There's some humor in the game. So the people who have come in have all been very diverse. I don't want to reveal too much about it, but I will say that there are talking animals. There are androids, robots, sex robots. There was someone who was in charge of one of the news articles. He's one of the first people who comes in. He's like a CEO. I had someone who came in. She has one like cyborg eye and like cat ears. Like, it's just crazy designs. And it's just like every time you go, you just don't know who to expect, because there's so many interesting character designs that walk through, and their personalities are all very different. And what I love about it is some of them are regulars, so they come back. And you really do feel like it feels like a job where you're like, oh my God, they're so-and-so, like they're back again. And they'll be like, hey, I want the usual. And you have to like be challenged to remember like, oh, what's this person's usual? And you have to go in and find their drink, which I should say, I know I said earlier, on one hand, it's not very challenging because all your recipes are there. But the real challenge to it is sort of psychological. Sometimes you have people come in and they won't tell you what they want. Like, they'll be like very like sort of cryptic, and they'll be like, I want a soft drink. And you're like, Jill's like, well, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know, soft. And like, you have to go into your menu and be like, which one of these could be a soft drink? Okay, this is something that's a little bit lighter fare. And then if you get it wrong, that gets deducted from you at the end of the night. So that's sometimes disappointing, but it really is a very small margin of error so far. I haven't seen anything that's too impossible. The drinks are pretty easy to make. I did get a little stuck in this tutorial, I should add. When you are making the drinks, if you do decide to pick this copy up for yourself, which I do highly recommend, it's only $15 on Steam. Make sure when you're mixing the drinks that when you're mixing a drink, you put all the ingredients together and you click it for like literally a second on the mixer, and that's it. You don't want to mix for a long time because then your drink can become blended. And if you blend your drink when you're supposed to mix your drink, you can ruin the drink. And you don't want to serve that to your customer. So there's little challenges like that in there. Bar lingo that you'll probably learn. Oh, and then the other thing is there's lots of adult content. So if you're someone who... I mean, this game isn't necessarily like visually graphic. It's not like you're seeing blood. It's not like you're witnessing anything bad. But if you're kind of sensitive to topics like rape, if you're sensitive to sex, if you're just not very, I would say, open-minded to ideas of gender or same-sex relationships, things like that, maybe this game isn't for you, but I do highly recommend that if you're curious, you should explore it because it really approaches all of these topics beautifully. Like, I gotta say, this is one of the first games I've ever played that they've addressed sex, and it's serious. It's not, like, it is jokingly, but, like, it's not really the way that other games have portrayed sex to me. Like, I feel like they talk about it, and it's just a part of life. And I kind of feel like that's very refreshing for a game, that a lot of the topics, like, bad things happening in society, like, it's not like it's, over dramatized. Like, it's just talked about very frankly, and it's just approached in a very intelligent, clever way. And I don't know. I love this game. So anyway, I know I just blabbed on for a couple moments there, but it's on Steam, $15. And I think it's 3 chapters, but it's a lot of gameplay. Like, I'm barely through chapter 2, and I think I've already clocked in quite a few hours, like 30 hours at least, 40 hours. So buckle up if you're going to play it. A lot of reading involved.
Yes, and for anyone out there who is looking to buy the game, it's pronounced Valhalla, but the game is it's spelled uniquely. It's like VA 11, and then a second word where it's like HA11A.
Yes.
So just bear that in mind. All right, so now that you've told us everything there is to know about Valhalla,
yes,
I believe you need to give me a game to play, Miss Alaina.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I know you were very patient. You listened to me talk for all that time. So now you're going to get your indie arcade. And I believe you're going to like this one. So I found this one on sale. It's going to be 60% off. It's only going to be $6, which that's a celebration in itself to have a nice game. And it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews. So you're in luck.
Oh, that's good.
So the game is called Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Explore a neon galaxy in your very own battleship in this 1 to 4 player couch co-op adventure. So, Chris, my challenge to you, since Justin isn't here this week, is that the 2 of you play this.
Oh, interesting. So are we the lovers in a dangerous space-time?
Yes, you are. The best type of love. Bro love. It looks to be very colorful. It looks like it's a little bit of like a space shooter.
It looks really really cool. I love the aesthetic to it. Like, it looks like everyone has animal motifs going on. Like, there's a rabbit, there's a frog, and then there's these other 2 things. Not sure exactly what they are.
from what I'm seeing, it's like a very cute, very interesting looking style. It looks very colorful. And I actually read a little bit of the comments. I wanted to see what it was about. And a lot of people are saying it's a very, very unique co-op experience, that it's like really enjoyable. And that's why I thought you might want to play it with Justin, because there is a first person mode. You can play this as one person. You get assigned like a little buddy that's like a computer. However, people are saying that this is just amazing played with multiplayer. And it looks like it has some really good scores from Metacritic, and it's won some awards. So I'm excited for you guys to play this. And maybe it'll make Justin happy since he has to play Rabbi Ribby. Maybe he'll play this, and you guys will have a really good time together.
I don't know. I'm actually looking at it right now. It's a couch co-op game, which according to a lot of the comments here, it doesn't look like it has online multiplayer.
Oh, really?
So Justin and I would have to be in the same room to play this, which unfortunately is a little challenging at the moment.
Okay. Well, if you can't play it together, at least play the main player with your little computer buddy. And
I could play it with my computer buddy, or I could play it with Nick or Butch.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, they're right next door, so they would be perfect to play with.
That would be pretty. Should be pretty fun. We can all be lovers in the dangerous space-time together.
I'm sure they'll very much enjoy that.
Oh, I have no doubts that they will. All right. So, what do you say we take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go over our top 5 most wanted gaming Christmas lists.
Hooray!
Hooray! Welcome back, everybody. As we mentioned before the break, we are going to have our top 5 Christmas lists. So I figure we're, just gonna kind of get right down to it. These are gonna be gaming-related items that we each will want that we don't necessarily have right now. These are our own personal lists. Hold on one sec. Siri just activated just because, all by herself.
Oh, jeez. Siri wants to be part of the action, too.
No, Siri. Like, Siri, Cortana, all of them just want to be involved in everything, but no. You too, Alexa, wherever you are.
Even you, Alexa. Even you.
But yeah, so these are going to be items that we want that are gaming related. These are our own personal lists, so this isn't anything in general or that gamers, I suppose, would want in particular, because I imagine most gamers would want, say, a Switch or a PS4 or something like that, which we have those systems already. So these are more personal lists, and so let's delay no further. Alaina, what is your first item?
Okay, so the way we're going to do this is we have a short list, and I'm going to go backwards from, 5 to 1. That way we count down, and I can tell you guys my top most wished for thing at the very end.
Agreed.
So I'm going to start with number 5, and number 5 for me is Metopia.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah, this title came out, and I believe you talked about playing the demo on the show, didn't you, Chris?
Was that Metopia? I don't...
Yeah, I thought you did at one point, but if you didn't, Metopia is a title for the 3DS, and it's this really cute little game. It's kind of like, part of Nintendo's own trend of Mii games. They had Tamagotchi Life that came out a little ways back, and they've had all the things where you can create Miis in each one of your consoles. But this game in particular was surprisingly good. It's this cute little RPG quest, and you get to use your Miis to go on the quest together and fight monsters. Each one of your Miis has like a different quirk, so sometimes their quirks like sort of prevent you from battling or they kind of trip you up in battle, or sometimes they help you out. And the fun part about it is you could use your friends' Miis, so they could all be your friends there, but also more importantly, you have an access to a library of Miis that other users have created. So you could put all types of celebrities or people you know in the game, and that part of it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen some things here, and nowadays it looks more and more like Nintendo is shying away from the whole Mii system as a whole, because you can still have Miis and create Miis on the Switch, but it's hidden. It's not as open and out there as it was on, say, the Wii or the Wii U or the 3DS systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool to create your own avatar like that, but it seems like that's not something they're focusing as much on lately. And to have a game that's surrounded on the Miis themselves in Metopia is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it might be one of, you could argue one of the last titles that'll have Miis in this capacity, but I think it's a really good title because you are using Miis that are basically like some are pre-made, some are ones that you have in your own console. And I know for a fact, I created a few of my friends, but I don't have like a ton of Miis in my 3DS. So it was kind of nice that all the years of people creating really cool Miis finally can be used. It gets put to use in some way. So I thought that was cool.
All right. Moving on. My fifth item on my wish list is Layton's Mystery Journey.
Okay, I can't reveal other parts of my list, but this is also somewhere on my list.
Yes. This is actually a title that was one of my top 5 most anticipated games this year, because I've always loved the Professor Layton series. And I just love the whole puzzle aspect to it, the whole aesthetic to it. It's an anime, but it has the European art style to it, which I think is really cool.
I wouldn't even say it looks so much like anime. I think it really does have a distinct style to it. It's something you should really check out to see for yourself, but the art style is quite unique and really well done.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's technically an anime because it's Japanese animated, but the art style itself is it sticks more closely to European style animation. If you ever check out something like the Triplets of Belleville or something like that, it's very reminiscent of something like that.
Yeah, I know that the creators are level 5, so I guess that would technically make it Japanese, right?
Right.
So I see what you're saying. yeah, this was on my list too. And you say that you're a big fan, but I would have to argue that I might even be a bigger fan because I've played through every game up to date.
Oh yeah, there's no argument from me. You're definitely the bigger fan.
Not to show off about it, because there's nothing wrong with getting the next game in line. But what's sort of unique about Layton's Mystery Journeys is, and I'm sort of glad we brought this up, it does have a storyline. And I'm sure that having previous knowledge of the other games would be helpful. However, unlike the other games, because you're playing as Catriel, who is Layton's daughter, you're sort of semi-separated from the other storylines, which makes this game very easy to pick up, even if you've never picked up a Professor Layton copy of a game before. And it might be more accessible since the original games are for Nintendo DS. Curious Village was the very first title, and that was a DS game, and so was Diabolical Box, and I think Unwound Future as well. I think Last Spectre might have been the last official DS game, and then really by then Miracle Mask is the first 3DS game, and if you were to pick up Miracle Mask, you would not understand what was going on because you're placed right in the middle of the action. And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but the games really do have a very well connected, very heavy storyline between them. Like when you go from Curious Village to Diabolical Box, like there's things you need to understand from Curious Village to understand why you're where you are in Diabolical Box. And Unwound Future especially really highly sort of relies on you, the viewer, you, the gamer, knowing all that previous information. So, I mean, this is a good title for you, Chris, because I know that you're still, I don't know if you've done Diabolical Box yet, or you're not quite yet finished that one, but this game in particular, you don't need that knowledge, so you can go ahead and play it and get your Layton fix.
Yes, so that's mostly what I've been looking forward to, is just kind of scratching that itch a little bit, and diving back onto the Layton train, because I mean, it's really interesting too that now you're Herschel's daughter. Yeah, that's really interesting to me.
And let me just tell you, oh my God, Catriel, one of my favorite game characters this year. I think that she's not just adorable, she's like hard to describe, just completely and utterly lovable. And when you meet her in your own copy of the game, you will understand. She's so charismatic and sweet. And I mean, it was hard, right? Because Herschel Layton is another very iconic, very lovable character. It was kind of like, Catriel had a lot to live up to because, I mean, this is Herschel Layton we're talking about. He's just the best. He's that like really fun, intelligent, clever professor who has all these witty things to say. And, I was like, oh, what's this going to be like? Catriel is so great so far. And I do know this, by the way, I should mention. I bought this on mobile. And you can buy this game on mobile, or you could buy it on 3DS. And I'll explain why I have this on my list somewhere. But basically, I do have it for mobile, and I have played a little bit of it so far. And I can confirm Catriel is one of my new favorite characters, and I think she's one of the best characters this year.
Nice. So what is your number 4?
Okay, so number 4 on my list is Super Lucky's Tale.
Oh, nice. Good pick.
I actually didn't realize this game was out already. I think I let it sort of glide by my radar. Like I was aware of it, and then somehow I forgot that it was coming out. And so when I was thinking of games I'd really want for Christmas, I was like, oh man, like this looks like a really cute platformer. I'm excited about it. I'm excited I could get it for Xbox One. So yeah, that's my choice there for number 4.
Yeah, that's a title that released only, I think, a couple weeks or a week after Mario Odyssey came out. And I mean, it's similar. It's like it's a cutesy 3D platformer type game. But I mean, it got lost in the shadows of Mario, which, I mean, how could it not? And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that its timing wasn't a little bit better, because it looks adorable and it looks fun. It looks pretty harmless, but it just it's not something that should be overlooked just based on the timing. So yeah, I think that would be a really good title to pick up.
Yeah, especially since some people have already picked up the title and played it, and I was reading some comments, and they were saying that it looks really good so far, that it was a great game, that they were having a lot of fun. So I think, that's exciting, because I know that Ukulele in particular, which is sort of the title that reminds me of Super Lucky's Tale, Ukulele did not have such great fan reception. Some people were not very happy. They kind of felt like it didn't give them enough. But a lot of people are saying good things about Super Lucky's Tale. So I think that is a good Christmas pick. Now, what about you, Chris? What's your number 4?
My number 4 are amiibo. Specifically, either Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey themed amiibo.
Ooh, very nice choice.
Yes. I think if I had to pick, I would lean more heavily towards the Mario Odyssey amiibo versus Breath of the Wild amiibo, because the Breath of the Wild amiibo, like, right now you have the 4 champions that are being advertised. Plus you have a lot of the earlier amiibo that were released when the game came out, like you have the Guardians, you have Link on horseback. Those are all really cool and really well designed. And I mean, if you were to apply the amiibo to the game itself, you receive different items. But right now, and this may just be recency bias, the amiibo that you get with Princess Peach or Bowser or Mario will help you much more directly in playing Super Mario Odyssey. And in particular, I forget which amiibo it is. It's either Bowser or Mario, where if you apply them while you're in a particular level, you'll see the locations of purple coins remaining in a specific area.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, I believe Peach, if you use her, she immediately gives you, how there's those hearts that give you 6, it gets your power level up to 6 versus the standard 3. Mm-hmm. Peach gives that heart to you every time you put her amiibo on the Switch.
Nice.
But yeah, especially finding those purple coins would be such a lifesaver, because I have no idea where they are. I feel like I've turned these maps upside down and inside out trying to find these stupid purple coins, and I still only have like maybe 6 or 3 left in some worlds, and it's driving me crazy.
Well, then an amiibo would definitely be a good choice for that.
Plus, they just look cool.
Yeah, oh, definitely. They make great display pieces.
All right, number 3.
Number 3. All right, this is a favorite of yours, A Hat in Time.
Oh, yes. I heartily recommend this.
Yes, another very cute, very just beautifully made title available on Steam. It kind of looks like Nintendo GameCube era games. It has that style to it. I know that, Chris, you talked about it a little bit on the show. Been very much looking forward to getting some money to purchase this, because everyone says that it's great. And I think that, again, like the fact that I could access this not only on the computer but also Xbox One is a real plus for me, because I need to add to my Xbox One library. I need to do something about it.
Yep.
So why not add A Hat in Time?
Yeah, in a couple weeks as of the release of this episode, it's coming out for PS4 and Xbox One as well. Right now it's currently PC only, but a couple weeks from now it will be available on most consoles and PC. No Switch version as of yet. That may be in the works as of now, but right now that's still far too early to say. But yeah, it's the same price regardless of the system you purchase it for. But it's a phenomenal game. It's an adorable game. Do not sleep on it. Pick it up as soon as you can. It is one of my favorite games this year.
Yeah, it is just, really just something to see these game developers make this type of game. Just full of that nostalgia, just so creative and adorable. Gives me those Wind Waker magical feelings when I watch clips of it. So I'm very excited about this one. All right, and what's your number 3, Chris?
My number 3 is Wolfenstein 2.
Ooh, another good title.
Yes. This is one. This came out on that epic day, October 27th, when we had Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Wolfenstein 2 all come out all on the same day.
I know, what a day.
What a day that was. And right now I have 2 of those 3, and I want to complete the trifecta by snagging up Wolfenstein 2 because it looks so cool. And how can you go wrong? Like, you're BJ Blazkowicz and you're running around and you're killing Nazis. It just looks awesome. The story sounds like it's really interesting. Kind of relevant to today, but
yeah.
Without
if you're frustrated or you're having a hard time, just log into Wolfenstein and kill some Nazis, and can make you forget about the world for 1 minute.
Yep, that's the power of video games. They're fantastic. All right, moving on to 2.
All right, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I'm kind of ready.
You're kind of ready. All right. Well, number 2 is Golf Story.
Oh, Golf Story.
So,
nice.
I guess you could technically file Golf Story under, I need Switch points or I need money to be able to purchase Golf Story because it is downloadable. It's not. I believe you can't get it like as an actual physical copy, can you?
I'm not entirely sure. You might be able to pick up a physical release for it, but it looks like it's such a tiny game that you should. It looks like it's such a tiny game. You should be able to pick it up on digital without any real problems.
Yeah. So it's a Nintendo Switch title. And Nick actually was on the show, and he was the first one to talk about this. And I just want to say thank you, Nick, because ever since you've talked about it, I have been very much looking forward to purchasing this for myself. I was a really big fan of Hot Shots Golf, and still am. And that sort of has like a semi-storyline, but it really doesn't dive in too deep. And Golf Story looks like it does just that for me, so I think it's going to scratch like that very strange genre for me, like that itch where I kind of want to like live an RPG sports adventure, which, doesn't happen to me too often, but when it does, it really makes me passionate. And, for people who haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, it's just so cute. It's all pixel-based artwork. You go in this little adventure. So I very much recommend it. A lot of talk has been about this game. Again, very highly rated title. And, for Christmas, you get a little bit of that Christmas money. Like, you're looking to spend it on something. You could go to your Nintendo Switch shop. This is very easy to download.
Yep, agreed.
All right, Chris. I want to hear your number 2. Lay it on me.
All right, my number 2, it's a little anticlimactic, so don't hype it up too much. But my number 2 is a Joy-Con charging dock/stand.
Oh, that's not anticlimactic. I was actually checking out those for myself, believe it or not.
Right, because I've been playing Stardew Valley a lot lately, and I've been noticing that I'm constantly getting this alert telling me that the battery in one of my Joy-Cons keeps running low.
Yeah,
it's
I have that problem too.
yeah, so it's not the system itself that's running out of battery, it's the actual controller itself. So I was thinking, like, you look on Amazon, there's a lot of different third-party charging stands out there where you can display your Joy-Cons. If you have multiple pairs of Joy-Cons, you can display them and charge them on the stand. And let's say you're playing with the controllers that you have, and then the batteries are running low or the batteries run out. You just slide them onto the charger. Then you pull out the ones that have already charged up, and you just slide them back in, and presto, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice gift idea. I mean, especially with the Nintendo Switch, I've noticed that problem. For me, at least, since one of the first days, I have a really bad connectivity problem with my Joy-Cons, and I've been struggling with that since its inception, and I'm starting to think it could be because it's having trouble charging with the actual dock. So I think it's a great idea, Chris. I think that's a very excellent choice for Christmas.
Thank you, Alaina. I will. I'll pay you your $20 after the show.
My bribe.
All right. So we're down to number 1. Out of all the things on your list, what is the one thing you would want most?
Well, you kind of gave it away for me at the beginning, but my top pick was Catriel Layton. Layton Mystery Journeys.
Oh, I see.
So I felt bad because I was like, oh man, that was my first pick. But I'm glad that you brought it up. And again, as I established, I am a Layton superfan. So these games are very important to me. I'm also an artist, and I would have to say that Professor Layton has inspired me deeply. And I've always wanted to create something on par with the art style of Professor Layton. I feel like these games are just beautiful and
oh god, yeah,
just really emotional experiences. Like the music is like so sweeping and brilliant, and just it's so good. So this was definitely by far my top pick. And again, so here's the difference, right? I talked about having it on mobile. And so you ask, Alaina, why are you buying the same game twice? I realized that Layton really drained your phone battery. And I could cope with it and keep my phone plugged in and just play it that way. But I gotta be honest, I was missing the experience of the Nintendo 3DS. I mean, who doesn't love taking their stylus and poking the screen for hint coins and, just the portability of your Nintendo 3DS? Like, there's just something nice about it. And I can't put my finger on why, but just for me personally, there's nothing wrong with the mobile copy. It works great outside of it just being a battery drain. However, I'm willing, because I'm a big fan and I'm a huge nerd, to spend the $30 on the 3DS copy. I figure, why not? It supports level 5, so that doesn't bother me at all. And so I'm very excited to get a hold of this game for Christmas.
All right. Cool. Good to know. My number 1 is more of a it's more of a hypothetical. It's more of a wish list. I'm not going to get it. No one is going to get it. But it's the one thing that I would really, really want. And that would be a virtual console for the Switch.
Wow. How did I know you were going to say that? When you were like, I don't think I'm ever going to get it, I'm like, this has to be virtual console.
Yep. It's, and by saying that, I'm never going to get it for Christmas. I would hope, knock on wood, that I would get it eventually, that we all would get a virtual console for the Switch at some point. But yeah, it's just like this is the perfect system to play a lot of those older games, like the old NES, Super NES, those types of games, to take them on the go with you and just play them as you're waiting around, as you're on a commute or something or other.
Yeah.
And the Switch is powerful enough. and mobile enough that playing these games should be absolutely no problem for it whatsoever, and they should take up virtually no space on the system itself. And like I don't know, it's such a perfect system to carry on the legacy of the virtual console, and they can even take it a step further, because right now the GameCube generation is old enough where they can start being included in a lot of these retro re-releases that people are talking about. And you're even starting to see that trickle out nowadays. Like Xbox One is starting to introduce original Xbox backwards compatibility. You're seeing Sony, they're starting to re-release older PlayStation 2 games by next month, I believe. In 2018, you're having the new Shadow of the Colossus is scheduled to come out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we're at that point where that generation is in the retro stage, and it would be really great if Nintendo could leverage that nostalgia for their own benefit and for the benefit of a lot of older gamers like me, and I'm sure like Justin as well, who want to play these games. I mean, it's I don't know, and you would be able to reintroduce these games to a wider, younger audience as well. I just think that's I'm not entirely sure what is going on behind the scenes in getting this set up, but I would really, really like this virtual console to come out sooner rather than later. And that's just me.
I think it'll come. I think it'll come eventually because, they're finding that the Nintendo Switch is incredibly successful, and they sort of built that console around the idea of sort of going back to their roots. I mean, a lot of these games are really great because they decided to ditch all the kind of gimmicky things that came with the Wii U and just go back to basics. And they did mention, releasing a lot of retro titles, I thought, in the initial trailer. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I know at very least they were planning to release games that felt that way, that were pixel-based, that had that feeling to them. So I think it would be very easy for them to port over some of the older titles that, Nintendo fans love. The only thing I will say is that right now, with them selling these miniature consoles, I mean, it might be a little while, because if you could get it on your Nintendo Switch, you're not going to bother getting like the little mini SNES or like the things they've been selling recently, because it's just not going to be worth it for anybody. Whereas like right now, that's like really a great deal, getting all those games on the miniature console. So who knows? But yeah, I kind of feel that, your turn will come, Chris. I think it will come eventually, if not now, soon.
Yeah, I appreciate those words of encouragement, Alaina. Thank you. And now, as a quick little bonus for everyone out there.
A bonus.
We are going to list a gift that if we were to receive it for Christmas, that we would regift as soon as possible. For me, I would regift an Xbox Live subscription.
What?
Because I don't have an Xbox. What good would that do me?
Honestly, Chris, that is a stupid answer. You give me the Xbox One subscription.
Exactly. I regift it to you.
Well, okay, I guess that's a regift technically, but yeah, okay, I see your answer.
So, how about you? What would you regift?
All right, well, I chose a game that I would regift in a heartbeat. In fact, this is a game I would throw right into the garbage can. Oh. That's right. Wow. I'm going to say it.
Wow.
Right here on Press A repeatedly. Okay. I'm going to go on the record. This game I absolutely loathe. Are you ready, Chris?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Forza.
If
any of you dare to give me Forza, I'm throwing it right into the garbage can. Right into the trash it goes.
Are you such a Is it like if I were to get you Need for Speed, would you be okay with that? Is it Forza in particular?
It's Forza in particular.
Wow.
It is Forza.
What is it about Forza that A, sets it apart from other racing games that has inspired such loathing and hatred?
Well, I'm glad you asked. No, it's just the fact that Forza's like, first of all, I mean, yeah, it's a racing game, which isn't my favorite, but nothing for nothing. I play games like Mario Kart. Okay, maybe that's not like a serious racing game, but like Chris will go on the record here. I love racing games, fine. Forza just, to me, is like the antithesis of everything that's supposed to be fun about a game. It's all about, oh, you have a great sports car and here's your car and you're just gonna race it and compete with people, and like, where's the fun in that? Where's the imagination? What even makes this game like enjoyable? Like, makes you want to play it for hours? Like, I just don't understand the fascination behind cars. I mean, sure, cars are great or whatever, but like, why would you want that in a video game? A video game that could do anything, when you could step into a world and, rescue a princess, or, like be Professor Layton and go on this mystery adventure, do all these fun things. Why would I want to waste my time racing around in a car when I could just get into my car and I could drive in real life, Chris? Ask me that.
Well,
why?
If you were to drive in real life the way that you drive in Forza, you would probably be arrested immediately.
Okay, that's a good point. Their cars are a little faster in Forza, and I admit it's like racing without the danger of being hurt, which I could understand, but like Forza itself, because again, I'm not against all racing games. I think Need for Speed is fine. Like, I don't know, but there's just something about Forza and about the way that like Xbox, like, it's like its main title or one of its main titles. Like, every year they come out with another damn Forza. Like, there it is. Everybody's excited for Forza again. Like, why? Please, someone explain it to me. I encourage you. Write in. Tell the show.
Yeah, email us at
why Forza's a good game.
parpodcast@gmail.com. What is the appeal of Forza?
Please explain it to me. I encourage you fully to tweet me on Twitter. Like, I just want to know, what is it about Forza that people like so much? Like, I can't. It's just, no.
They should release a version of Forza that's like Forza South Jersey edition. And it's like, all the cars available are like Ford 4x4s and like Dodge Rams and Honda Accords. You have cars with like duct tape over the back mirrors. Yeah, over the back windows.
Yeah, and then you have like Philadelphian drivers that come in out of nowhere.
Yeah. As you're driving, you're driving, everything's fine, and then out of nowhere, the game just randomly generates these cars with Pennsylvania license plates, and they just swarm all over the racetrack and get in everyone's way. They cause accidents, and then you get blamed for them. And your reputation as a driver suffers, even though it's 100% the Pennsylvanian driver's fault.
Man, it's a little too real. That being said, I love you, Philly.
Yes.
I do.
Yes. Shout outs to all
Despite
our
you coming in and driving. You guys gotta look. I'm just saying, no offense, but you guys gotta learn to drive in South Jersey just a little bit better. The stories I've heard, like, some of you haven't seen jug handles before. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, they're a uniquely New Jersey thing, but it's pretty simple. Stay in the right-hand lane, unless you're passing. That's it. That's all you have to do. Stay in the right-hand lane. Because if you need to make a turn, ordinarily you'll need to be in the right-hand lane, even if you're making a left. Just stay in the right.
Right. Well, this turned into a lecture about South Jersey traffic patterns, but
yeah, no,
basically,
it's a new edition of Forza, exclusively revealed here on Press A repeatedly.
I hate Forza as it is, but if that game came out, I would be even more unhappy.
And in doing so, Forza has accomplished its goal. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Alaina, thank you so much for coming in and filling in for Justin.
No problem.
All right. That about wraps it up for this week. Remember, Press A repeatedly posts new episodes Mondays on iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to everyone who has rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you. Mwah. You can follow us on our Facebook page and on Instagram at Press A Repeatedly. We are also on Twitter at Press A Repeatedly. I'm at cgold113. Alaina is at Laney Lynn T. LANEYLYNNT. You can email us any questions or comments about Forza or otherwise at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. Chris and Alaina signing off. And remember, to fight off a pack of hyenas that continuously rip your face off, press A repeatedly.
And stop.
And stop.